Welcome everyone. My name's Mel and I'm the campaign manager here at Birchal. And before we just kick off, I just want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands we are zooming to you on, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and we pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Thank you for coming along to our virtual Q A webinar today. Today we are hosting Jodie Dunstan and Kieran Pfeiffer, who are our fabulous founders from SportsBox. We are going live with their offer next week. They are going to present to you all about their amazing business in the sports equipment field and making it accessible for everyone and the community vibe that they're really creating with this incredible plan of theirs. They're going to speak. Jodie's going to present this presentation to you for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to go into a Q&A session. So at the bottom of your screen, you'll see bubble. So anybody that's on the call, please put in any questions that you have for our founders, and we will attempt to answer all of them for you. And before further ado, please welcome Jodie and Kieran. Over to you, Jodie.
Thanks, Mel, and thanks everyone for your interest, the positive feedback I've already had from the people I've spoken to, and also for giving up your time to be here today. A little bit about SportsBox. Who are we? So we are building stronger, inclusive communities through free access to sports equipment, focusing on accessibility, sustainability and well-being to promote an active society. This is really more than words on a page. It's one of the questions I've been asked a lot over the last couple of weeks when I've been speaking to people, is about my why. I think the short answer is it's the sum of the parts of my life experiences. I was raised by a single mum who was in a car accident and in a wheelchair, and she raised myself and my two sisters. But that meant disposable income was pretty limited for participation in things in organised sports. There were other priorities. I think then it was when I was an adult before I really discovered the benefits and the joy of sport. Now, as a mum of a teenage boy and a teenage girl, and what I've observed is they've journeyed through grassroots and rep sports, and my belief around health being the true measure of your wealth, I think these are all the things that have combined to lead me here to SportsBox today and really put a fire in my belly to solve what is a significant problem. So in Australia, more than 55% of adults and over 80% of kids aren't active enough. Now, that's not a stat there to shame any of us on the call today, but that is the fact that's reported by the Australian Institute of Health and Wellbeing. Globally, that problem's even worse. There's more than 1.4 billion people who are not getting enough physical activity. So in Australia, that physical inactivity currently costs the Australian economy $805 million per year. And I think the second, the second problem to this is around the investment that councils and governments put into sports facilities all around the country. But those public spaces are really underutilised, and that really is a barrier around lack of convenience of available sporting equipment. So a little bit of technical information about what SportsBox actually is for those that are interested. So there are three components. The first one being the locker. So the locker, our core product includes a solar-powered outdoor model, particularly for multi-ball sports use. There's also the user app, and that allows consumers to search for lockers across our network, as well as once they're in the park or the open space to unlock the doors and access the equipment for play. And then the third component is the management dashboard. So this dashboard not only allows customers and SportsBox, the company, to manage the lockers remotely, but it also provides data and insights into the locations that are most popular for play, what's the equipment that's most in demand, and the peak hiring periods. So moving on to the business model and the revenue streams. So there's three main revenue streams in our model. So first and foremost, it's the sale of the lockers, the physical hardware, through to our primary customer base is government, particularly councils, universities, and then also private venues who will purchase the lockers. The annual subscription fee, so that's an ongoing maintenance and operational support fee that we charge the customer, and we do have a minimum 3-year term on our agreements. And then the third source of revenue is on advertising. So there is provision there for on-locker advertising and in-app advertising partnerships. So as you can see on the slide there, our gross margins on the equipment is, they're all healthy margins, 74% on the hardware, 88% on the software subscription, and 87.5% on the advertising. So where are we at today? So currently we've commenced a project to roll out 25 lockers supported by the Department of Sport, Racing, Olympic and Paralympic Games. And we're launching pilots in Brazil and Dubai. We've achieved a signing of a multi-year agreement with Decathlon for both the equipment supply and advertising revenue. And we've got expansion plans to scale these lockers rapidly across Australia, starting with Victoria, New South Wales and WA, where there's already been significant interest, as long as pursue strong interest that's coming out of the APAC and Middle East regions. A little bit about the team. So as you know, I'm Jodie. I'm the CEO and co-founder. My background, I've had a portfolio career across accounting, large-scale IT implementations for government and mining, as well as marketing, including National Marketing Manager for the healthcare sector at Deloitte. I've also successfully scaled a startup company in the aged care clinical care space. My partner in crime, Kieran, on the call here, co-founder and chief product officer. Kieran has had a diverse career across design, technology and innovation. He has successfully launched startups and has global experience across Australia, the Middle East and Europe. Also in the team as an industry specialist is Jared Hill. He's a valued industry expert for us and is Australia's leading field of play designer. And he brings deep sport and recreation network connections to the team. Dawn Penny, based in WA, has had an extensive career working across education and sport, including research across her area of passion around sports participation and particularly her research papers around informal sports. And Anna, she's an advisor providing advisory services, leveraging her experience scaling global businesses and her success also as a founder in the sports tech sector. So the strategic partnerships that we've already got actively in place. So SportEng, with offices across Australia, as well as operations in New Zealand, we will leverage their strong network of councils and universities from past and ongoing projects to drive adoption. Decathlon, as I mentioned, they are the world's largest sports equipment retailer, operating in 79 countries. We'll use those established relationships with councils to expand locally, but also to open doors in international markets. And then thirdly, Vodafone as our technology partner, we will leverage their global support for multi-country Internet of Things deployments. Why invest? So in addition to the market research we've undertaken already in Australia, which included national conferences, industry meetings, council and with parent feedback, the demand for shared sports equipment model has been proven overseas already, where over 1,000 sharing stations are already in operation. So this has really validated the demand for this model. Secondly, we are the first to market in Australia. There are currently no competitors who offer a self-serve sports equipment solution or addressing this problem. And then thirdly is Decathlon's presence in global markets, and with our partnership agreement that will really help to open doors in key markets. So upon successful capital raising through Birchal, we plan to use the funds raised to expand locker deployments in Australia and the identified global regions, to strengthen the app infrastructure and expand advertising capabilities, further development of additional new locker models, expanding our offer beyond the current multi-ball sports. And you can see a render there of our second model that's underway at the moment, catering to water sports for stand-up paddle, kayak and surfboards, and increase visibility through community sports events, marketing and partnerships with Decathlon. So I'll pass back to Mel now so she can open up the floor for Q&A session.
Thanks so much, Jodie. That was really terrific. If anybody's got a question, I can see there's a few of you that are attending today, which is terrific. Just please pop it in the Q&A box down on the bottom of the screen there. It's such an exciting business, Jodie and Kieran. We are just really thrilled to be working with you on this one. Can you just talk to us a little bit more about how successful this has been in overseas markets? And I just feel like Australia is so ripe for this opportunity because we're all sports mad, aren't we? Can you just talk a bit about your knowledge about how it is going overseas and how you envisage it will roll out here, and based on how it's going overseas?
Yeah, I mean, overseas, it's been mainly deployed in Europe, and it's about 4 years now that companies have tried to put this in place there. There's been over 1,000 sharing stations across different companies, and the usage adoption has just been huge. So a lot of playing hours in Europe.
That's really extraordinary. I just think in Australia, because we're also sports mad, and the fact that you're looking at so many different types of equipment, including the surfboard equipment. I mean, how much coastline do we have, right? What can you talk to us about just about how that all breaks down, like all that sort of equipment? I mean, obviously you're looking at soccer balls and things like that. What else are you looking at?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, our first model is the 3-door model, and that includes mainly balls, smaller rackets like your pickleball and padel rackets. But our next versions will include larger rackets, so tennis rackets, cricket bats, eventually volleyball nets or kits. And then the third model would be the larger model for surfboards, kayaks, stand-up paddles, which is a bit more of a container-like product.
Yeah, fantastic. I have one question that's come through now from one of our listeners, and one of our potential investors, I should say. How does your offer differ from the multitude of similar companies operating in the Northern Hemisphere, apart from being the first mover in Australia?
Yeah, so there's a few, I would say, product differences. One is that we have the solar power, so it is solar powered. We don't need councils to worry about having an electricity connection, and that makes installation easier for them. We also have 4G, and this is where our partnership with Vodafone comes in. So essentially another worry that councils don't need to have is having Wi-Fi or a 4G modem next to the locker. And I mean, yeah, I would say those are the main two. Our partnership with Decathlon is also different, where they're really helping us with the equipment and the advertising to reach other locations globally. Which is, I would say, a first for this product.
Tell us a bit more. You just recently partnered with SportEng. Can you tell us a little bit more about that partnership?
Yeah, Jodie, can you jump on this one?
Yeah, sure. So SportEng approached us. I mentioned earlier in the presentation that we did some market research when we were first setting out, and we attended a conference for, I guess, focus group feedback. It was at that conference that I met SportEng, Jared Hill and his partner initially. So they really loved that concept and wanted to be a part of that. And with the network and the connections that they have and the work that SportEng already do as the leaders in design of fields and engineering, they really wanted to jump on board and support the rollout of this because they could see the benefit out to their marketplace as well. So in that role, Jared and SportEng will support us, particularly their head office being in Victoria, and I'm based in Brisbane in Queensland. So they're a really great source of introductions and network connections in the Melbourne area.
Can you tell us a bit more about your team? They're such an experienced group of people, and I think that, you know, obviously the team is so super important when it comes to you know, running a successful business. Can you tell us a bit more about how you came together and just, you know, to back this amazing business of yours?
Kieran?
Yeah, definitely. So I think it's all about making sure we fill in the gaps that, you know, are needed, so we can all you know, work our strengths. And I think that's where, you know, me and Jody work really well. I mean, her background as an accountant makes sure everything's in order from a finance and governance perspective. But I mean, her background in marketing also, you know, brings sparks of, you know, many ideas. And just, I would say my background in product and sports tech has really helped us. I mean, this is a new field where hardware comes into play. But that software component and the experience in that has, you know, really helped us make sure we deliver a good product to the users. And then, yeah, I mean, our advisors, they just have, you know, the experience in different fields, and they're really good at what they do.
Yeah, really impressive. Another potential investor has asked, what strategies do you have to ensure theft of equipment in the boxes is minimized?
I guess that's the first question councils ask. And we've really worked a lot and hard to try and mitigate this. We've developed a feature in the app to essentially ask users to take a photo before they end the rental. And that means that we ensure that the equipment is returned. We also ask for payment details before the rental starts. So while we do not charge for equipment in public spaces, we ask for those details in case someone, you know, has a longer rental time. If they're renting it for 24, 48 hours, we can then end that booking on our dashboard and then charge for that equipment.
What cities are you aiming to target? What's your strategy location-wise?
Yeah, so we've started in Queensland, so those 25 lockers are going into Queensland. And I can mention Brisbane, Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast. But yeah, now we have gotten significant you know, leads in Victoria and New South Wales, and I'd say in the bigger cities, Melbourne and Sydney. But internationally too, so Dubai, Brazil, Sao Paulo specifically, and another one in Europe, which would be Portugal, Lisbon. So I'd say those would be the 3 international cities that we are working on at the moment.
Simple question from another potential investor. Does SportsBox have inflation capability, or do I need to bring the ball pump to the park? After a couple of weeks, my soccer and basketball in the garage at home are a little flat. Good question.
Well, yeah, very good question. And the idea there is, you know, to add that, and that's part of the, you know, next development or product iteration, is to try and understand how we can have one pump there. But part of our maintenance is to make sure that the equipment is good and at its best, you know, capacity, essentially. So to make sure that balls are filled and ready to play.
Excellent. I think that's it for the questions. If anybody's got any further questions, please throw them in. But I think that it's such a great idea. And I really hope you guys are successful in this raise, because I think you deserve to be. One person's asked, oh, there's a few more coming in now. How often will you maintain the boxes?
Yeah, so we would, I mean, equipment-wise, we have an agreement with Decathlon where we're able to replace or, you know, check on equipment quarterly. And and we also use their data to understand how long the equipment lasts. So from an equipment perspective, that's, how long we would be looking to replace equipment. But we essentially have runners that would be doing cleaning, filling up the balls if needed, checking if the technical components of the hardware are working fine, and that would be on a monthly basis, essentially.
Another good question that's just come up about usage rates. Do you have any idea about the usage rates for the locations that are already in place in Europe, for example, that you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, definitely. So there's a few numbers out there, and there's been a lot of independent groups do studies on those stations. Mostly, and the average has been around 600 usages of one door or one piece of equipment per month. So 600 rentals per month per door.
All right. Terrific. Another question that's come here, it says, in the local council sporting ground concept, how does the consumer know this is a no-cost initiative and not simply a sport equipment vending machine? Does it rely on the consumer walking up and reading the side of the sport box? You've got information on the side of the sport box, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, we do. So, I mean, yeah, from apart from that, we are conversations with councils as to also promote the initiative, and whether that's through their newsletters or other channels, to just announce that there is free equipment available at those sites. We do have the extra information on the locker, and I'd say on our socials and other platforms, we'd also make sure that they are aware that these lockers are available and free to play on those sites.
Terrific. Have you got anything further you want to say to the listeners, Jodie and Kieran? I think we might wrap up soon. We had some great questions. Thank you, everyone. It's really good to have that engagement from the potential investors on this webinar today.
All I'll add to that, Mel, is just I tried to ring as many people that have provided a phone number, and I do have a couple that I haven't gotten through to yet, but I just really want to say thanks again. The feedback from everyone I've spoken to and the encouragement and the stories that they've shared as well, it's been super encouraging and certainly aligns with what we've heard from industry. So yeah, just thanks to everyone that's picked up my call and given us the positive feedback and encouragement through the process.
Thanks, Jodie. Oh, there's another one that's come through. Do your expansion plans involve mains-powered locker solutions? Noting park venues have lighting, electric barbecue security cameras, etc. I imagine this would lead to an enhanced consumer experience and security, and also installation insights that don't support solar. What are your thoughts around that one?
So we do have a powered model that is available on request. So if councils want to have a locker in a facility that is indoor or covered, we also cater for that. But yeah, I would say we really wanted to push the solution to be as open as possible. And like you said, there's just a lot of demand for outdoor activity at the moment, and people wanting to engage in informal sport outdoors. And that's, why we're pushing forward with this model first.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys. Well, I might wrap up there. Oh, hang on. Another one's just come through. Sorry. What's the next step in the journey for a potential investor? So we just, that's just, when we spoke about this earlier, but the CSF regime is, so what you get is you get shares that are illiquid. So if you invest in SportsBox in their live campaign next week, you will be part of an incredible journey with SportsBox and their expansion with this business. But your shares you will only realise any kind of benefit with a CSF share regime if the company has a buyback share offer, or if it lists on the ASX, or if it has a trade purchase of the company or a private equity investment company comes on board. So that's how those that's how any exit strategy works with CSF regime shares. Okay.
Can I just butt in, sorry, and add to that, Mel, just for Matthew, because Matthew and I had a great chat the other day. So
okay.
Just in terms of if it's the next steps from today in order to become an investor, the offer documents will be out on Tuesday for anybody that did submit an expression of interest. And so all of these people, and Mel, this is your area, so correct me if I've got this wrong, but everyone that submitted the expression of interest will have 48 hours before the offer goes live out to general public. So you can have a heads up and read through the offer document, and you have that opportunity to invest at that point.
That's absolutely right. So it's a private offer for 48 hours, and that's why we encourage people to put in an expression of interest, because obviously we work on the fact that there's only a limited number of shares that are released. So you need to get your hands on those before they run out. So you get that opportunity for the first 48 hours, and then the campaign goes public. So that's why we recommend that everybody puts in an expression of interest if they really want to be part of SportsBox moving forward. Okay, thank you everyone. This has been a really terrific session. This is a fantastic product and a great business, and we really hope we have an amazingly successful raise with you guys. Thanks again. Thanks everyone for attending.
Thanks, Mel.
Bye.